Are you ready to automate your Instagram marketing by adding a chatbot to those interactions on your stories and posts? I'm excited to share that ManyChat recently made the Instagram channel available to all of us chatbotters. Before that, it was only for those that had large followings. In this short video, I'm going to show how to create a story ad in Facebook and tie that to a chatbot so when somebody responds, the chatbot does its job in qualifying that buyer, renter, or seller, right, to bring you leads to your phone. So let's dive in and let me show you how we set that up. Before I dive into ManyChat, I'm going to show you the content because as you create stories in Instagram, you need to have trigger words, and we're going to use what's called a keyword that's going to have them type a certain response to you in the message, and that's what's going to trigger the chatbot to automatically respond. Now you could use either Canva, in video, or a number of other editing tools. I'll have those videos here on my channel so you can learn how to use those. But what I'll do is I'll head over and show you my content that I'm going to use in the story ad so you can see how the trigger word is initially set up. So like I said, you could use either Canva or any editing tool. Here's the story I'm going to be putting in my Facebook ad. It's very simple, a lot of music, a lot of excitement, showing different rooms. I'm promoting our rent-to-own program here on the ProEdge side. So I'm going to be showing how to create a story ad promoting my rent-to-own program. And as you see here, it ends with a call to action, which is DM me the word rent if they want the details. So that's going to be the trigger word that we set up over on ManyChat so that when they respond, they type that word in. That's when the chatbot does its job, start interacting automatically for you. So let's dive into ManyChat and I'll show you how that works. Okay, over here on your ManyChat account, the first thing you need to do is set up your Instagram channel. So you're going to head over to settings, you're going to come to the channels and go to Instagram. And if you haven't already connected your Instagram, there'll be a big button here that says connect to Instagram. Go ahead and connect it. Now you will need an Instagram business account, not your personal Instagram, to work with ManyChat. So go ahead and set that up. My handle is Smarty the Realtor, is a business Instagram account. I'll have other videos on the channel that talk about the story mentions and starters, so stay tuned for some new content on my channel around Instagram, as we're super excited to do this kind of marketing as a realtor and investor. So get ready for those, and make sure you hit the like and hit that bell so you get notified when these videos come out. What we're going to do is going to come over to automation. The first thing we'll do is we want to set up the flow that we want. So to create a flow, there's a new flow button you can click on, and that would just, if I cancel out of here, you'll name the flow, and I'll just call it my flow right here, rename it, and it'll come out with a blank canvas, something like this, and you start putting in your message. What I'll do is I'm going to go over and show you the one that I've set up for my ad, so it's already typed, so you don't have to see me do the typing here. Basically, what I like to do in all my flows when it comes in is the very first step, I use what's called an action step. And if I edit the flow right here, you'll find action steps right up here in the with the blue plus sign, and you'll come down here to actions. In the actions, ManyChat has lots of actions. You can notify users, you could opt in things, you could subscribe people to sequences and so forth. So get familiar with all the actions that are in ManyChat, and I'll have a special video on my channel specifically covering actions in ManyChat to give you some ideas. What I do is I have 3 specific actions I put in most of my flows. So the first action I do is I mark the conversation as opened. That way, over on the left in the live chat window over here, when somebody responds to one of my stories, the bot's going to be talking. It opens up a live chat so I can let the bot do some chatting, but maybe I want to jump in and have a human interaction with the person by chatting with them direct. So go ahead and open those channels. The second thing I do is I always tag this source of the lead. So in this case, I marked it as an Instagram lead. So I can segment all my leads, see how my marketing's doing across Marketplace, Craigslist, Facebook, etc., to QR codes that are on a door sign. And then lastly, I qualify the type of person this is. So I'm just going to assume they responded to a rent-to-own, they're a renter/buyer. They're going to be the category that I give them initially as a tag. And that may trigger different events in ManyChat for sequences and other things. We use these tags all over the place. And what I've done here is I put a simple message. So hey, first name. So when you come over here, when you're in the flow, there's a little parentheses here. You can access a lot of fields to really personalize the message, and I grabbed the first name field. So, hey, first name, thanks for inquiring about our rent-to-own programs. You pick the house, we buy it, you rent it with a right to purchase. So just give them a simple message when they type in the word rent. And I say, how cool is that? And then what I'm doing is I have a special website that I send them to. So I'm just saying, click below to head over to my website that has all the program details. Of course, in chatbot marketing, you could do other steps, and you can continue to add Instagram or SMS, another message, and take them down the flow. So I'm actually in the process of taking my ProEdge chatbot that has hundreds of flows, and I'm going to take specific ones and make very specific Instagram dialogues around buyers, renters, and sellers. So you stay tuned for some of those updates if you're using my chatbot. So in this case, I'll just leave a very simple one, and then I'll hit publish. Now, the next thing we want to do is we want to set up what's called the trigger or the keyword. So inside of the ManyChat system, in the beginning of every flow, we have a starting step. And if I say add trigger and come down to Instagram, there's some cool capabilities here inside of Instagram. We have Instagram triggers on comments. So as you're posting your regular post, somebody comments, you could trigger the bot. What I'm going to use is what's called a keyword trigger. So over in here, I'm going to use the word rent to go with that story video I just showed you. And what I like to do is I like to make it a contained instead of an is. That way, if they type something besides just the word rent, maybe they type in rent to own or I want to rent. As long as it finds the word rent, I want this chatbot to start talking about our program and driving them to my website. So it's on the channel for Instagram, and I hit create. So now I have the flow, I have the keyword it's looking for, and now what I'll do is I'll head over to the Facebook side, and let's create a story ad and connect all this together. Okay, so now hopping over on Facebook, we'll go ahead and create the story ad. Now make sure you're in Ad Manager. That's where all the ad creation takes place. I'm assuming you know how to get there. If not, reach out below with a comment. I'll gladly help you set up your Facebook account to make sure it's optimized for Instagram and Facebook marketing. What we want to do is we want to, in Ad Manager, we'll hit the create button to start the ad. Now, because this is a Instagram story and we have the call to action in the video itself, I'm going to have them message me. I could basically use any of the categories here. Now, because this is a video, I'm going to do a video view. And one of the other tricks I use as a ninja marketer is I'm going to create a custom audience around video views so that as over time, anybody that watches any of my videos on Facebook or Instagram, I'm putting them in a custom audience so that I can retarget them. So I go from a cold audience to a warm audience to now a hot lead, and they get to know me. I like to refer to this as know, like, and trust. So what we're going to do is we're going to come down and we're going to name our campaign. So I'm going to call this the ProEdge IG for Instagram rent to own campaign. So that'll be the campaign I give my the name here. The ad set, I'm going to be primarily looking for renters, and I'll call it Philly 30 because I like to go 30 miles out. And then in the ads, I have a IG rent to own story ad, and that'll be the name of my ad. And then I'll go ahead and hit continue. So as I hit continue here, the first thing we're going to do, we're at the campaign level. The campaign describes the objective. As realtors and investors, it's critically important that you use the special ad category and hit housing, or Facebook will reject your ads. We are restricted as realtors and investors to what we could do in the ads, but as you stay with this channel, you'll learn all the tricks of what you can and can't do as a realtor to make sure that you stay in compliance with Facebook. At the campaign level, that's the only thing we need to do. At the ad set level, we'll define the budget. So for this ad, I'm going to do $10 a day. I'm going to start it for Sunday, and we'll start it at 7 a.m. So those people waking up in the morning, they'll start seeing my ads, and hopefully those leads will start coming in tomorrow and through the Labor Day weekend here. If you want to put an end date, you can put an end date. I like to leave it open. I monitor my ads regularly, so if it's not working, I'll shut it down. I'll keep an eye on this, but if I have a high-flying ad that's working, I may leave it go for months because it's generating lead after lead to my business. The next thing is the audience. So in the audience here, on the right-hand side, it shows you statistics. That's 280 million people because that's in the United States right here. You want to hit the edit button, and we'll go ahead and select my location where I want the ad to be placed. I also want to point out location up here. In the drop-down, it always defaults to living in or recently in this location. If you're in an area of the country that's not real transient and you're marketing just to people in your backyard or in your neighborhood, you basically want to use people living in that location, so they're going to see your ad for homeowners that are looking to sell or for buyers that are looking for a new house. If you're in a transient location where people are relocating, I like to leave both on because I may have people that fly into my city in Philly to look around neighborhoods before they decide to buy or rent. So they're in the neighborhood and maybe they're a restaurant, and right in the news feed they will see my ad. Down here I'm going to hit get rid of United States, and I'll put in Philadelphia. So as I put in Philadelphia, I can either pick a county or a certain location and then go from there. Or I can do this. I can say, let me just pick Philadelphia here again. What I like to do is just zoom in. You could also do what's called drop a pin. So I like to drop the pin. I'll move out a little bit. We'll pop it up there. And then I'll do a 30-mile reach. So I have a nice reach in my marketing. So we'll go out 30 miles right there. And then I'll get rid of the Philadelphia County. So in fact, what I like to do, because I'm not licensed in New Jersey, you'll see how it bleeds a little bit in New Jersey. With the pins, you can get pretty refined. So I'll go ahead and hit that and go out 30. So now I'm making sure that I'm only in the Philadelphia market and a little bit too far out. So again, you want to play around with it. So I'll go ahead and do one more. And let's see if this works. We'll go ahead and do 30 right here. So that looks perfect. So I'll get rid of the top one and let's go ahead and do my ads. Now you can, as a realtor, go all the way out 50 miles. So if I really want to do a broadcast for anybody in the Philadelphia region, I would blow this out more than 30 miles. So that's really up to you. What you also want to do is you could play around with some demographics. Facebook is saying in that circle, that's 4.2 million people. That's a broad audience. What I want to do is I want to do some targeting. So the targeting for a rent-to-own program, they actually have a rent-to-own category. So I could say anybody interested in rent-to-own, and it looks like 130,000 people are interested in rent-to-own in that circle. I may want to broaden it a little bit by putting in the word rent, maybe people that are currently renting, people that are interested in rent.com, what other things I can throw in here. Renters insurance, so people that are looking for renters insurance, that's a good indication. I could also use the word apartment, and we have apartments.com. We have another apartments, let's say regular apartments, and let's keep going. We'll go in and pick, sure, apartment guide, people that look at the guide. The other thing I like to do when I do rent-to-own is also look at first-time home buyers. So they also have a first-time home buyer. So now I have a nice, healthy demographic, and in that circle that represents about 1.2 million people. It's still in the green here, so it's a good audience. It's not too specific. It's not too broad. We'll be able to show this. And Facebook's telling me I'm going to, with a $10 budget, I'll get about 695 to 2,000 people seeing my video every day. And I'm going to have lots of through play. So I should have 200 to 800 clicks a day with this ad. The last thing I'm going to do is I'm going to hit manual placement. And what we want to do is we want to turn all the other locations off in just Instagram. And what I'd like to do is turn all these off, because this is going to be a story ad. I'll go ahead and just include stories and reels. So that will be where they're set up here in the Facebook world. Now, the next thing we want to do is we're going to do the ad creative. So you're going to, on the ad level, you will put your Instagram account. You'll come down here and you're going to add your video. So I've already uploaded that video. If you need to upload, there's an upload button. So I'll go ahead and select that upload button. And we could change the ratio here if we want, and then hit done. So now I have my storyline. Now, what I wanted to also point out is because the call to action is in the video itself, you don't need to have any primary text. So I think Facebook automatically defaulted that, so I'm going to get rid of the primary text because my call to action is in the video, so you don't really need that. And then all you do is hit publish, and you are now ready to get leads. So if you like this video, consider, if you haven't already, subscribe to my channel, as I'm committed to having these kind of videos for renters, or not for renters, this one I want for renters, but I want it really for investors and realtors that are looking to drive more leads and make this the best decade ever. I appreciate your support on the channel. Give me some thumbs up to share the love around the YouTube world, and have a great Labor Day weekend.